Hi there and welcome to the UkeStuff channel and welcome to this tutorial for the play-alongs of Before You Go by Lewis Capaldi. So what we're going to do in this tutorial is, first of all, we're going to look at the chords for GCEA, soprano, concert, or tenor ukulele, first in the key of C and then in the key of D. Then we'll look at the chords you need for baritone, DGBE ukulele, and then we'll talk a little bit about strumming and or picking, whichever you might want to do for this song. Now there are a couple things you might want to know. First of all, there are timestamps in the description below and then also at the bottom of your screen so you can fast forward to parts of the video that matter to you. The other thing that you might want to know is that for every new song, both on the Uke Play-Alongs channel and then the tutorials here on the UkeStuff channel, the chord chart, or what a lot of people call the tabs, are available at ukestuff.info, which is a collaborator with this site. Let's start with the chords for GCEA soprano, concert, or tenor ukulele. I'll be using the Flight Diana Soundwave, kind of a cool piece of equipment that makes your ukulele have effects either acoustically or amplified. For this video, I won't be using any effects. I'll just be using it as a pure and standard ukulele. So in the key of C, the first chord you need is the C chord. The second chord you need is the A minor chord. The third chord you need is the F chord. And the final chord you need is the G chord. Now those chords aren't very hard. However, the song is transposed down in the key of C and it sounds a little different, so be ready for that. And then the challenges you'll see later when we get to strumming and picking. Now let's look at the chords you need on GCEA ukulele in the key of D. The first chord you'll need is the D chord. There are a number of ways to play the D chord. I traditionally, because I have larger hands, put my first finger at the top of the 3rd fret and finger 2 on the 4th string 2nd fret and then finger 3 on the 2nd string 2nd fret. And that makes an upside down V shape, right all on the 2nd fret, but I can get all of my fingers in there like that, and then I can play the D chord. A lot of the books will just show you to play 1, 2, 3 all in a row. And there are a couple other ways you can do it. You can play strings 4 and 3 with one finger and then add another finger onto the 2nd string 2nd fret. Or you can try to use your 3rd finger and bend it like that and play all strings 4, 3, and 2, leaving string 1 open with one finger. Whatever works for you is how you should play the D chord. The second chord is the B minor chord, and it's going to be a bar chord. So what you're going to do is take your first finger and place it all across all 4 strings at the 2nd fret, and you're going to pull against the fretboard as if you're going to launch it. That will actually close off the strings most of the way. Just support a little bit with your thumb, and you'll get a nice clear sound. And then with your 3rd finger, play the 4th string 4th fret, and that's your B minor chord. It may take some practice. The next chord is your G chord, and your final chord is the A chord. Now, other than the B minor chord with the bar chord, really the biggest challenge again is going to be deciding how to strum and pick, and we'll talk about that later in the video. Now let's take a look at the chords you need for baritone DGBE ukulele. I'll be using my mainland baritone. It has a cedar top, just like the Flight Diana, but this one has rosewood back and sides rather than laminated walnut, like the Flight Diana concert that I was using earlier in the video. There are 4 chords you need to know. The first chord is the D chord. The next chord is a little tricky perhaps, and I'm going to talk to you about 2 different ways you can play it. The book is going to show that you put the first finger on the 1st string 2nd fret, 2nd finger on the 2nd string 3rd fret, 3rd finger, there's a couple ways to do this, but 3rd finger on the 4th string 4th fret, and then the pinky on the 3rd string 4th fret. That's one way to play the B minor chord. Now, there's another way you can do it. You can put the 1st finger on the 1st string 2nd fret, 2nd finger on the 2nd string 3rd fret, and then try to cover up strings 4 and 3 with the 3rd finger all at the same time. That might work for you. Another thing you can do is not worry about the 4th string at all and let the 4th string stay open and just play finger 1 on string 1, fret 2, finger 2 on string 2, fret 3, finger 3 on string 3, fret 4, and then leave the 4th string open. That's also a B minor chord, whatever works best for you. The next chord is the G chord, and then finally the A chord. And those are the 4 chords you need for Before You Go on baritone ukulele. Again, the challenge is going to be how you strum or pick the song, and we'll talk about that next. Now for this next part of the video, I'm going to use the tuning in D because it's the key that both baritone and standard ukulele have. If you're playing it in C, the thoughts still work, but we'll talk through it. Now with ukulele, you have a re-entrant sound. A high G, then C, E, and A. So it goes from the G above middle C back down to middle C. Now when you have a baritone ukulele, it's going to be generally in linear tuning, D, G, B, E, all in a row going up. Now there are ukuleles that are tuned with a low G instead of a high G. And with that in mind, there's a couple different ways to approach this, and I'm just going to talk about them loosely as we go. Now when you start the song, what you get greeted with are octaves being played on the instrument. And that works really well for guitar, which has quite an extended range above and beyond that of an ukulele. Even at its best, an ukulele still has a pretty condensed range. And that's one of the things that makes it neat, but it also makes it a challenge to replicate what a guitar does, because a guitar has more strings and therefore a greater range. So what you're going to have to decide is how you want to handle the beginning of the song. On GCEA ukulele, in the key of D, we're going to be using the key of D here, you have a couple options. You can play the standard D chord and play the lowest note you have, which is generally going to be the 3rd string, and the highest note you have, which is generally going to be the 4th string. It's not an octave, but again, you're playing along and not trying to replicate perfectly. If you wanted to play that perfectly, you could do a bar chord D chord, but then you're also going to run out of options on the next couple of notes, because you're going to have a B minor that you can't go octaves on. You're going to have a G that you can't do octaves on. So on GCEA ukulele, it's probably best to go alternating 3rd string, 1st string on just the chords that exist, and just play them that way, whatever those chords happen to be. Then your A chord. And that's pretty much what I would do probably on GCEA ukulele for those chords at the beginning, or wherever you hear those octaves in the song. So on baritone ukulele or on linear tune GCEA where you have a low G, you might want to try this. First of all, you'd play the 4th string, 1st string, and just use 4th string, 1st string. Then the B minor chord. Now on baritone, you have a couple different ways you can do that, right? You can play it 1, 2, 3, 4, or you can play it 1, 2, 3 with the 4th string open. Then you got the G, and then your A chord. And that's probably what I would do on baritone or linear tuned GCEA, is just play strings 4 and 1 rather than strings 3 and 1, because you're going from lowest to highest. Now, before we go any further, remember that everything you're being suggested here is just a suggestion. There is no right answer, because they did not use ukulele in the original song. So you have the freedom to do what you like. So if you don't like that suggestion, don't use it. If you don't like these future suggestions, don't use them. Do something you like. Now, here is the next part of the song. Really, it's the other part. You have 2 options what you can do. The first option I'm going to give to you is on the rest of the song, and the parts that aren't just the octaves, is to play an arpeggiated chord. So, for example, you would, on the D chord, play 3, 2, 4, 1, 4, 2, 3. It would sound like this. Then B minor chord. Then you have your G chord. Then your A chord after the G chord. then your A, then back to your D chord again. Now, you're not going to get that immediately with the video, but you can slow it down and work on it. Again, it's 3, 2, 4, 1, 4, 2, 3, repeated 4 times, with the exception of the G chord where it repeats twice. By the way, if you're doing the key of C, then that'd be the F. And these patterns all work the same no matter what you're doing because you're going from low to high. Now, there might be times where the notes are the same because of reentrant tuning. That's okay too. But again, it's 3, 2, 4, 1, 4, 2, 3. Now, you might be wondering what fingers I'm using, by the way. My thumb plays strings 3 and 4. That's how I do it. And then my first finger plays string 2, and my middle finger, or we call finger 2, plays string 1. So it's thumb, first, thumb, second, thumb, first, thumb. And it's kind of going outside in. Inside, inside, outside, 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 inside, inside. And by the way, I'm not playing the D chord there. I'm just playing the open GCEA tuning. And if I put it on the D chord, it's going to sound like this. All right, so that'd be option number 1 on reentrant tuned GCEA ukulele. Now on baritone, linear tune DGBE, or GCEA ukulele with a low G, you're going to have a little different situation going on, and you might want to use all 4 fingers. I'm going to be honest with you, I am not the best at this because I generally use my thumb and the first 2 fingers to pick. So what you want to do here is the same idea, go from low to high, but it's going to be... except it's faster than that. And I very seldom use my ring finger in picking. In classical guitar, it's P, pulga, thumb, I, indiso or index, M, medio, which is middle, and A, anillo, which is ring. So what you do is you pluck 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. And you just follow through with the whole progression, whatever you're going to play. Then the G chord. It's easier to do slowly. This isn't full tempo yet. Then you have that G chord for 2 beats. Then A. Then you're back to the D chord again. And again, that's something you have to put into your fingers probably outside of this video. You're probably not going to catch it the first time. And remember, it's going pretty fast, so you have to be able to move pretty quickly with that. And if you're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, you can actually practice that at home. But really, the best way is just put it when you have the ukulele at home is to just practice. And by the way, for all the picking, I usually plant my pinky on the soundboard. Not all people do. Some people like to float it. It's whatever works best for you. But you generally pick above the sound hole. You strum up here. So let's say you don't want to deal with the picking. What you can do is something like this. What I'm doing there is I'm playing down, down, thumb goes down, finger comes up. Down, 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 up, down. That's one way you can do a triplet. So the other thing you can do to play a triplet is this, is going down, down, up, up. So it's down, down, thumb comes up, first finger comes up, like this. And that one feels too clean, too percussive for me. If it works for you, you can do it. So what I find myself doing is this. I play the first chord, extra extra down strum and not a triplet on the last one, then change chords. Then to the next chord, the G chord. And then you have 2 more beats, right? And that's another thing you can do in the song too. So you have that beginning 3-1-3-1 or 4-1-4-1. You have the option of picking the next part, the little arpeggiated thing back and forth, or you can try the triplet strum. I wish I could tell you that it was easier. And in truth, if you don't like any of that stuff and you just want to play down strums the whole time, go ahead and do it. But if you find that that is boring you or that it doesn't quite fit with the song, you can try some of these other things. There you go. Before you go, Lewis Capaldi. I hope you're having some fun with it. Thanks for watching. I hope you're having a great day. And, as always, I will be back soon with some more Uke stuff for you.